You know, my man got too familiar, and I ended up having to whip his ass, man, because, he would step across the line. Habitually, he's a habitual line stepper.
So you can say something offensive that you understand, and that's bad, but saying a bad word usually has connotations that you don't understand, so you don't even know how bad the thing you're saying is.
But my point is, it's a collective understanding that, that's a bad word.
But why?
And the reason it's a bad word is usually because of what it means, and that meaning offends people.
Yeah,
the meaning has a whole special about like the 7 bad words
you can't say on TV. Yeah, the meaning is the point, is what I'm saying, not the offense. The offense is an effect. The meaning is the actual problem.
Well, no, because you can have no meaning and say a bad word.
Give me an example.
It'll be offensive.
But it has that kind of...
The way people use bad words is fillers. So there's a lot of people who, instead of saying drop a bad word in the meaning.
Fucking, what's that dude's name? Fucking, yeah. But the thing is, fucking, no, here's the thing. Fucking is a bad word because it has a meaning that's like not good. Like if I said, I'm going to fuck you, like that's inappropriate, but that also is a crime, right? So like that's a bad thing.
Depends on who you're saying it to.
For more than, if you say that for more than, okay, what doesn't depend on who you're saying to, because in what context is a child saying I'm gonna fuck you is acceptable? In what context?
We never said we were talking about children saying.
No, I said I was talking to my son about this. Like you don't even know why these are bad words. So like,
yeah, but you said if I say. So you as an adult.
Okay, if a kid says I'm gonna fuck you, it's not just offensive. Like it's way more than that. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it was just the offense, then we would address the offense. But it's not just that; it's everything else. Anyway,
it's the
go ahead.
What the kid could mean like, I'm gonna K-row I'm gonna K-row your strategy in like this Dungeons and Dragons, right? But what he said has a different meaning. And to the people who hear it, that meaning is deeply disturbing.
Yeah, but it could also mean that I am going to beat you and like fuck you up, which is also a crime.
Right. But that's my point. Like,
no, that's my point.
No,
it's the meaning. It's the cause, not the effect. Speaking of which, hold on. That is what I want to talk about today. But go ahead.
If someone says something in the middle of the forest and is around to hear it, the meaning has power because of those who hear it.
No, I don't agree.
If you say something in the middle of the forest and nobody hears it,
if a pedophile thinks about diddling kids in the middle of a forest, that's still fucked up. Yes, whether I heard it or not.
Everybody has.
It's still messed up.
Because
choose your words very carefully before you complete that sentence.
I know. Because we know that is disturbing. However, any people have deeply disturbing thoughts at all times. Somebody wrongs you, you think of like doing something to them. The thought, if fleeting thought, but
still a wrong.
Not getting arrested.
It's still a wrong.
Not getting arrested. No one knows you thought it. You are the only person who knows you had that thought. It's wrong because you know it's wrong, which is also the difference between you starting to act on it.
Yeah, it's still a wrong thought.
Right. But my point is it as wrong as the person who actually acts on it?
But that's a different point, but it's fine.
It's
fine.
All right.
I mean, the goal.
It goes back to my point of
how many points do you have? Because I just have one. Because I just have 1 point.
Well, it all goes back to the founding point of the word is bad because it has meaning. Meaning needs to be heard. Meaning.
That is my point. That is my point. You said that is my point. My point is that the meaning is the reason why it's bad, not because it offends people.
The meaning is what offends people. Meaning, again, you can say something.
That's okay.
That's like we said, the filler bad words. You didn't mean anything by it, but the meaning of the word itself offends people.
You are. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to hire you next time you need to make a point twice.
Not my fault. We say the same difference.
This is so closely related to what I want to talk about. It's crazy. Because we're not saying the same thing.
Point.
It's just an echo.
Why are you so like bent on disagreeing with if I'm saying
I'm not disagreeing. I stated a point. You disagree. We talked about it more.
Disagreeing about disagreeing.
I stated a point. You disagreed with it. And then you talked a bunch. And then somehow you were saying the same thing I was saying the entire time. Electric.
So the new one. It's new.
Electric. Come on, man.
What'd it do?
Call a spade, bro.
We're recording now.
That has a meaning too.
And we have been recording.
Okay, let's officially kick this thing off, yeah?
Welcome to the Habitual Line Steppers podcast. I'm the Rebel Alliance.
I'm Electric Thunder.
This is Scrota.
Yeah. And we are the Habitual Line Steppers. Or Steppers.
Also known as To That Point. Late to the party. Name pending. We're working on.
So there's a couple things that I would really like to get into today. But over the last week, we had the privilege of having our fellow podcast hosts come down to our hometown, me and Rebel's hometown, because he may be relocating over here. So we actually, for me, for the first time in my life, got to meet Electric Thunder. I want to know how your trip down here was, what you thought of it, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, it was dope, man. Houston is a vibe, man. People are so cool out there. Not once did I feel apprehensive when I was out there, and I'm normally apprehensive. Like, apprehensive is my mode. Yeah, it was cool. I liked it. Everything I ate out there was delicious. And we didn't even go to like any fancy spots. We just went to regular, normal spot. Scrota and I went to a dive bar to play some D&D. I never played D&D before. It was the first time I played it. We ordered some food there. I did not expect that burger to be so damn good. Holy cow.
That burger looked delicious.
Yeah, shout out to Rudd's Bar. I think that's the name of it.
Rudd's, yeah, same thing.
Yeah, they made an amazing 2-patty burger, and it came out on like this thick white bread. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't on a bun. I bit into that thing, and it had so much flavor. Oh, it was so delicious. So yeah, Houston's dope. I liked it. People were really cool. We went out. We had another night. We went out to like what would that be considered, like a lounge where we went?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We went out to a lounge. Like, people were vibing. Like, people there, they just mind their own business and just have a good time. Like, nobody's looking around. Like, it was just such a cool vibe. Like, the women there, they were just dancing, having a good time on their own. Guys were being respectful. Like, I went to get some drinks, and like two of the guys, like one of them complimented me, another one, asked me a question. Like, we just started talking. Like, yeah, I like Houston. Houston is nice. Like it a lot.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and I got the homies over there.
Wait.
Even better.
Hold on. If you're not cool though, and you're listening, it's just cows and grass. Nothing to see here. Keep it moving. I recommend Wyoming.
Or Austin. Just go there.
Oh yeah, go to Austin. There you go. Dallas or Austin.
Just Austin. Austin's just go to Austin. That's where all the Californians go. Go to Austin.
Yeah. I think those are the two cities most people think of to Texas, either Dallas.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
Go there.
So I just went to training, and the coach there, he goes to me, he's like, "Oh, I heard you moving. Where you moving to?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going out to Houston." And he was like, "Oh," like I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "You apparently never been there." But then he started recommending me all these gyms out there. So I don't know what that was about, but I had a good time. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the people. The people were great out there. So, and people drive very well out there too. I heard people drive crazy in Texas, but not that area. Everybody was driving, at a good pace. I didn't see anything crazy. Nobody was really cutting anybody off, and traffic was moving too, surprisingly. So
yeah. The people that usually talk about traffic here, it's like, you haven't been to work.
No, traffic here sucks in very specific places. But again, you're talking to people who lived in New York and Los Angeles. So,
yeah.
The problem
Traffic
with Houston
moving at 20
traffic,
miles an hour is not bad at all.
the problem with Houston traffic is that everybody wants to go to one place and there's only 3 ways to get there. Los Angeles, everybody wants to go everywhere. There's 1,000 ways to get there, and you can't go on any of them. That's Los Angeles.
New
York, everybody's trying to go to one place. There's only one way to get there. Good luck.
Yep.
Yeah, and the everybody in the Houston and the New York examples, we just basically said the same thing. The difference is the order of magnitude of the number of people we're talking about in New York is very much different than the people in Houston. So Houston's a giant city, but it's
had feeder roads.
It's a Texas thing, man. You're gonna fall in love with those electric.
Yeah. And I also want to say that, like, I went to the post office, and when I was driving over there, like, I had to go through a rural area, and I saw a freaking zebra in somebody's front yard. And then, like, at first, I didn't think anything of it. And then I was like, yo, what? I just saw a zebra. And then I see a camel in the same yard. This yard was huge. And I'm like, yo, was that a camel? So I don't know if that place was like a animal sanctuary or that was just somebody's crib. But I was like, yo, that was crazy to see.
So for those that don't know, and not to give out too much information, we live in a part of the town that's on the border from like actual suburb city and just straight hick sticks. And the post office is notorious for being in the middle of the sticks. So I've never seen a zebra, but when he told me that there was a zebra out there, I'm like, tracks.
Yeah. Yep. One part you're near like a Starbucks, next part cows.
Mm-hmm.
The camel, honestly, wasn't that surprising to me, but the zebra's like, okay, that's different. So, Electric, you wanted to have a segment called "What Grinds My Gears," because you're known for having very strong opinions on certain things that may not annoy you, but may put you off a little bit, and we want to encourage this as a safe place to vent that. So, what grinds your gears?
People that drive in the left lane on the highway and everybody's passing them on the right. That really grinds my gears. Oh my gosh. I will tell you, if I can create a contraption, or if somebody does create it, I'll buy it off of you, where I could load D batteries on it, right? And have one in the front, on my left, and on my right, and I could catapult those batteries at other drivers. I would love to have one.
Other drivers or the cars?
Both.
Slingshot.
Imagine you just driving, just get pegged in the head.
Get knocked by a friggin' D battery. I mean, I'm pretty sure those exist. Or would be easy.
I'm pretty sure it's not hard to make.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I got blueprints in my head right now.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
that's like my problem. If somebody has a good idea, I'm gonna think about how to make it.
I mean, like some people, they just get into the left lane and they just sit there and like hold up traffic. And I mean, this happens everywhere. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing? If people are passing you on the right, get out of the left lane. That's, it's called the fast lane for a reason. And I swear it almost seems like people don't know this. Either that or they're afraid of driving and they feel safe in that lane. I don't know.
Which is stupid because it takes the most work to get to that lane.
Yeah. Agreed.
And it's the most dangerous lane.
It really, and in my opinion, that shit causes accidents. Because everybody, now people want to get right around you and they're speeding up, they're, switching lanes. And I just feel like that causes more accidents than anything. Besides people just being douchebags.
You know what people don't know how to do?
What?
So when this may be not make much sense to people who don't have feeder roads or service roads, as they call them in other parts of Texas. But when you are making a left turn onto the feeder, and there's two lanes that turn left. There's an inside lane and an outside lane. Do you know that people don't know how to do that correctly? Even though there is a line that tells the person on the right what one option they have. You have one option if you're on the right.
Yeah.
If you're on the inside lane, you have two options. You have exactly one option on the right. You know how many times I've been on the left lane, the inside lane, made the left, and instead of going, because I have the choice between going on the left lane and the middle lane, the person on the right only goes on the far right lane. I've went to the middle lane, and the person on my right almost hits me. They honk and yell at me like I did something wrong. I said, there is a solid white line, and then it gets dashed as it straightens out. Nobody knows how to do this, apparently.
That's literally the reason that line exists, too.
That's why it's
Enough
there.
People messed this up.
And
Enough people messed it up that they were like, hey.
Rules are present because enough people screwed it up. You know what? We're making a rule about this. Like, that's why rules exist.
And signs. Like, every time you see a street sign, enough people messed it up that they were like, you know what? That's it. We're making a sign.
I love those
Y'all
little compilations of, like, highly specific signs. It's like, yo. How many people did this?
Yeah, man. Like, oh my gosh. I can't tell you how annoyed I was not being able to make rights on red in New York. Because I'm like, how many people messed this up that they were like, you know what? No more. No more. Party done. Nobody can make a right on red. It's so illegal now that they don't even put signs up about it. They don't tell you you cannot make a right on red. It's just known. Which means that many people messed it up that they took away the signs.
You know what? You know what? No. My favorite is there's a sign that it's like a sign on the side of like a like one of those little mountain roads or those hill roads. It says like hazardous cliff. It says warning, and it has a picture of like a dog jumping over the cliff like onto a car.
Oh, oh no!
It's like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, apparently dogs just be yeeting themselves off of this cliff onto oncoming traffic underneath. That's like one of my favorite oddly specific signs. I think if I was driving that, because like again, it's on a mountain, so I don't know if this is a dog or a cougar or a coyote. Like, what is it? So it says like hazardous cliff.
Oh, you're right. Many dogs have died. Oh, no, it's messed up.
There's also one about like falling cows.
Is that the one with the theory like the dogs are jumping because it might be like there might be a frequency or something like that makes them freak out and jump off, or there's like some
I don't know what conspiracy theory that's
I mean some sort of creature that they see and they chase.
This makes it look like they were chasing birds and didn't understand birds could fly. I Googled the sign, so I'm looking at the sign right now.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
In the way the sign looks.
And somebody mentioned cows jumping.
No, there's a similar sign about like danger falling cows.
That is a horrible way to start the day or end the day. You know what? No part of the day.
What? That's your day's end, bro. Even if you survive, your day's done. You're not gonna dust that off and then go to yoga. You know what I mean?
Of all the ways that people are worried about being taken out, falling cow has never made my list. I don't think it makes anybody's list. Talk about new fear unlocked.
I didn't know that hitting a horse was as terrifying. Deer was as terrifying as a thing when I was younger. And then when I got older and had context, I was like, oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
So
I saw a video a few days ago where like a freight truck, it hit the deer so hard, it looked like it sent that thing to outer space. Yo, that thing flew upward and just up. That was it. Like, and you see it from the cockpit, like from the
it'd come back
seat.
down.
Yo,
I bet you that deer took its pound of flesh from that freighter though. That freight truck was probably messed up still.
I don't know, man. The way it hit it, it looked like it did. It just blasted that thing, and that poor deer, man. Yo, so have you guys been following this thing about this all-female crew going to outer space for like 11 minutes? Like the crew had like Jeff Bezos' ex-wife or Jeff Bezos' fiance.
There's not much to follow.
There's not much to follow, but I've been hearing more. I've been hearing more about everyone wiling out about it than like anything else.
Yeah. So I saw a video. I just saw a video of the crew coming back, and it looks like it's all fake. So they're going to the pod, and like someone tried to open the door, and like the door goes inward, and then like one of the other crew outside tries to like pull it back out, but it was all caught on camera that it folded inward. So
I saw that, and a couple things come to mind immediately. Number one, who gives a shit? Like, if it's fake, then what?
Yep.
Okay. Like, then what, right? Number two, if it's not fake, is it plausible? And this isn't copium. It's just like there's clearly a photo op to be had here, correct?
Right.
Assuming that, why wouldn't they be able to open the door from the inside? Like, why wouldn't they be able to do that? If they're landed and they're safe, is it not reasonable that someone would try to open the door and fuck the photo op up?
Possible.
Right?
Yeah.
That sounds reasonable. And if it was fake, who cares? So, like, I think the people who are running wild about this are, let's face it, a lot of people are flipping out about it because there's a bunch of women up there. Let's just be honest. Oh, why they're not important? But they weren't flipping out about Jeff Bezos when he went in a giant cock, you know what I mean, up to space. You know what I mean?
Really did.
It was like, wow, really, dude? Really?
No, at the time we all were like, that's an interesting choice of shape for your rocket.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like, that's just
I'm
what it
seeing
is.
it all.
The internet was always gonna say something about it, and it's a bunch of women, you know, so they're gonna say something about it even more. And if it is fake, then then it's fake. They use the women as a photo opportunity or a publicity stunt. But like, I mean, you're talking about it, so it works. I don't care. I don't like Jeff Bezos. He's a billionaire. My stance is solid.
Yeah, to that point, I'm like, okay, they went up, stratosphere for a hot second, and then came back down. Cool. Props.
Okay, that's cool, but like, good for them. That's cool.
When I was thinking about it more like, who cares? You went on an 11-minute flight. All right, cool. And then like just seeing like how bogus it looked, I'm thinking to myself, the conspiracy theorist in me is thinking, why do they do this? What are they distracting us from?
That was my first thought.
Yeah. That they get, first of all, if nothing happened, the populace is already incredibly distracted. Without Trump, without all this stuff going on, people don't read. People don't read. Like, they don't need to do a space thing to distract people. They don't need to.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So, like, it's fine. Rich people did a rich people thing. Cool. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys went to space, I'd be super excited. You know what I mean? And then you have the people like, that's not even really space. I'm like, okay, bitch, how far up did you go?
Real.
I mean, on my flight on the way back, I was above the clouds. I felt like I was in space. I was satisfied with that. My ears popped.
No, went to space. My ears popped.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, too, yeah, like, if anything, I also think about the other side of it, that if you're going in this thing for this publicity stunt, it's like, what's going on? Your career was fine. You didn't need the publicity stunt.
What's Katy Perry and Gayle King done recently? I don't know.
Well, supposedly Katy Perry performed a song in Zero Gravity.
That's what's up.
All the other 10 people.
I mean, have you? That's cool.
I think it's so stupid. I don't know.
Who
who cares? I mean, like, that's
just because you can do something doesn't make it like cool. Like,
I think it's cool. I don't think it's mind-blowingly fascinating and I'm like jizzing everywhere.
Okay.
Like, I think it's interesting. Oh, it's cool. Like, if you were a singer, Brent, right, and you were in space, you wouldn't, and you had a space. If you were in zero gravity, you wouldn't do that. Hey, I did a song. You wouldn't do that?
I don't think I would think of it like that. Like,
No. If someone said, "Hey,
from
you
the
should
scientific, like,
you should do that while you're up here, artist," it'd be cool if you like put a stamp on this and did a song. You can do it for 5 seconds and say you did it. Would you be like, no, I'm not doing that?
I mean, I would sing because I'm there, not because like, oh, I need to sing while I was in space.
And then I would write that you performed a song at zero gravity. And you'd be like, okay, cool. And be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, hey, my best friend did a song at zero gravity. And the people are like, oh, that's cool. And then we're done.
Astronauts have already taken like ukuleles and stuff to space and performed.
Yes, but Katy Perry did it. That's the point. And that's not enough to like stop home or write but it's like she did it. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Then that's it. I mean, that's literally it. Yeah. Everybody unbunched your panties. Not you. Just the people who are like have their panties in a bunch about it. Rich people doing rich people stuff.
Yeah.
Let them be rich. Let them be rich.
Yeah, I guess that's why I'm like, why? I'm not even upset about it. I just found it hard to care. Anyway, moving on to the next topic. Wait, what was going to be the topic of this episode?
So I'm nervous about bringing up what I want to talk about because I don't want to hijack anything. I'll go last.
No, hijack it, bro.
Okay, check this out. What grinds my gears is not being able to just actually say the things I want to say because I have to like censor myself. And this is what I mean. Okay. This weekend when we were hanging out, eating food at Brent's house, having a big powwow with the friends, we all sat down and we had a conversation. And we had a conversation that harkened back to like the conversation that we had on one of these podcasts about like space travel and how I was like, I don't think that aliens like would come to Earth. I don't think they can come to Earth, right? And I had this conversation with a group of people, and a bunch of people were like, oh, that's very close-minded thing. This is how I felt, at least. It's very close-minded thinking of you to say that because you don't know what alien technology they have. Who knows if they can? I'm like, no. It's not about like what they can and can't do. It's about like what is possible and what's not possible as our understanding of science is today. And yes, science does change over time, but there are certain things that are axiomatic in nature that like just are, that are pretty constant. And even when I said that, I wanted to explain exactly what I mean by that, but it seems like that was not understood. And I'm not saying for a lack of like intelligence on anybody's part. I think I did a bad job of explaining it because I would need much more runway to do it justice. I don't think that just because something is hard means it's impossible, right? If something's hard, that means we haven't done it yet. The analogy I used at the time was, can you put a fifth face on a square? And the answer is no. Now, granted, we can probably imagine some kind of crazy world where some aliens can put a fifth side on a square, but like, come on, it's a square. If you put a fifth side on it, it's no longer a square. And we didn't invent a square. We didn't invent math. We discovered it. It's not invented, right? And so I was trying to explain how in order for aliens, I do believe in aliens, by the way. I just don't believe they've come here. In order for aliens to travel from another galaxy to our galaxy and our solar system, I'm talking about extrasolar aliens, okay? They would have to travel. They would have to travel faster than the speed of light, okay? Now, granted, our concept of time, you know, the closest galaxy is millions of light years away, right? And
I think we said the closest star is 7,000 light
not
years
star,
away.
planet. How far is the closest planet? All right.
Yeah, the closest planet, even though Venus comes closer to Earth at certain times, it's about
Extrasolar planet.
Extrasolar?
Yeah.
What does extrasolar mean?
Not in our solar system.
About 4.24 light years away.
Okay, 4.24 light years away.
Yeah, it's about Proxima Centauri.
Proxima Centauri, yes, correct, right? And so they would have to travel at the speed of light, which you can't do if you have mass, right? You have to be massless and be literally a beam of light to do it for 4 years, okay? Now, it's understandable that they might be able to get closer to the speed of light than we would. And it's understandable that traveling, like, you know, a couple of, you know, thousands of years is a long time for the species. It might not be. They might be eternals. That's like, you know, just a Saturday drive. But it's understandable that like that might be a long time. So that's the understanding we're kind of working with here. And I don't think I'm just bending anybody's like really way of thinking when I think about that. We're gonna make some assumptions, right? What I'm saying is that in order to travel faster than the speed of light, there's sufficient evidence or reason to believe that faster than light travel is just shy of not allowed, right? And I wanted to explain this so that people can understand what I'm talking about, but I felt like I would take this casual conversation and just nerd it out way too much, and I'll be whatever, and no one be interested in. And that's frustrating that like I want to talk about that so that people can understand what I'm talking about, because I felt like everyone was like, "You're being closed-minded. You're saying science is fact," and that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are certain things that because the way they're set up, if you understood what was involved, you'd be like, I don't think that is possible for very good reason. And again, as a scientist, we don't say anything is impossible. But like I said, it's pressing up
unlikely
on not allowed, not even unlikely, just not allowed by the universe, right? And I could go into this, but I would need permission.
So what I got from that, right, when you were explaining it that day, what I heard was that we have the science, and the science knows all at that moment. And everything that the science is saying and everything that physics is saying cannot be broken. Oh, and when I say broken, I mean it cannot, like, nothing new can come from it, because this is a hard, stead fact in physics, and that cannot be changed. That's what I was hearing when you were explaining it.
That's very close to what I'm saying, but it's not as definite.
Okay.
What I'm
So-
saying is that there are certain things that we have very good reason to believe is insanely unlikely to be false.
Okay.
Whereas
Right.
a lot of other things, we're pretty sure that that's the way it is. But like gravity, we're more than positive this is how it works. But we don't know what a gravitron is, so like we could be false about, we could be wrong about the whole thing.
At
See,
the
where
time, you
I-
said like math, 1 + 1 = 2, and it's not something you would normally refute. And I understood what you were saying.
Like I don't think that could be
You know,
refuted
there are-
anywhere. Like it is too.
Ask
You know
Terrence
what I mean?
Howard.
No,
mean-
we're not
you wanna
not
be like-
doing that. We're not doing that,
One
Electric.
parent,
We are
one parent
we're
plus
not
another
doing
parent
that.
knocking it down = 3. You, her, and the baby. But I understood.
ahead.
I understood what you were saying at the time, and that I was on the side of yes, but there is new science. I mean, science, but there are discoveries still, and the same way that we talk about, we are literally having a conversation miles away from each other, like
Yes.
beyond earshot, and like
Yes.
things like that. Once upon a time, no one thought that these things would exist. We have the world's knowledge at our fingertips at any given moment.
And that's all well and good. We've broken and found new math that superseded and broke the thing that we've been doing for 100 years and stuff before, right? We've figured out that it's not ethers, it's actually bacteria, right? Like I talked to my wife on the ride home. I said the vapors. She got the vapors, right? I talked to my wife on the way home, and I was like, the grandfather paradox is a good way to explain it as well too. Like, can you go back in time and kill your own grandfather, right? The answer
For time and tell
is no, right?
Right.
And what I was hearing was, hey, Uchenna, you can't say that. These aliens might have technology that might allow them to do that. I'm like, they probably don't. I think it's a safe bet that they don't, right? Because they would have to have they have to overcome the same problem. What I was trying to explain to people was that the speed of light is not the speed of light because that's the fastest thing. That's the fastest speed something can go. The speed of light is what's called the speed of causality. Like if you go faster than the speed of light, if an object, space goes faster than the speed of light, but space is not an object. It's space, right? It's not even air. When I say space, people think air and molecules. No, space is space. It's its own thing. But no object can go faster than the speed of light because the speed of light is actually the speed of causality. And what does that mean, right? The thing that I wanted to talk about was the anti-telephone paradox. It's a great way to kind of explain how the speed of light, why the speed of light is a cosmic speed limit and why causality breaks and you get these really jacked up, messed up things that just break the universe if that happens. So these aliens would have to have broken the universe and broken everything. And here's how I would now explain that if I was given the time to do it. And I'm freestyling this, so
yeah, I know.
And this is hard to do without paper.
I'm thinking of like counterpoints and rebuttals like the whole way because I was on the other side of this argument. I don't even want to call it an argument.
Just listen to me and then form the thing, okay? And this is hard to do without paper and pencil, so I'm gonna try to do this verbally without writing, and I'll try to be concise and be, so give me like 7 minutes on this, okay? So the best way that you could time dilation is kind of central to this thought experiment, okay? And what's time dilation? Time dilation states that like when things travel really, really fast, time slows down for that thing. And I think everybody kind of knows that time is not constant, right? The best way to illustrate this very simply for somebody is that what is a clock, right? If we were to construct a clock, let's say we construct a very, very simple clock. I take two pieces of mirrors, right? A mirror, and I put the mirror one pointing up and one pointing down to put them right on top of each other. I take a photon, right? A little beam of light. And I'll shoot the photon up, the photon to bounce up and down between the mirrors, okay? Every time the photon hits the top mirror, it goes from the bottom mirror, hits the top, and then go back to the bottom. That's one cycle, right? Now, I think we can all acknowledge that this is a clock because we can measure time and how many times this thing bounces, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
I got to do these checks because I don't want to run away from this, okay? So if you had one of these clocks, right? And I gave Electric one of these clocks, and we're looking at the clock, and we're looking at it's a transparent box, and we're looking at this photon just bounce up and down. If Electric gets in a car and starts driving, and the car's clear, or whatever, as Brent, who's stationary, looks at that clock, Brent's photon is going up and down, right? Electric's photon is zigzagging, correct? We follow?
Yeah.
Electric, we follow?
Why would mine be zigzagging?
From Brent's point of view, right? So if you throw a baseball up in the air, it goes up and then comes back down. But if you're on a skateboard, that ball to the person who's watching on the skateboard made like a parabola, like it went up and down, like it went like a little hump. You understand?
If you use the police siren of a car,
hold on.
Police.
No, that's a Doppler effect. That's something else. You got that, Electric?
I know, but it's
yes, I got that.
All right, cool. So that's why it will be zigzagging. As it goes up, because you're moving left, it'll go diagonal up, hit the top, then go diagonal down, and then go diagonal up. But to you, who has the box, it's just moving up and down, right? Now, I would say to Brent, your photon traveled a further distance in between the plates, correct? Because it's going this zigzag pattern. So it's actually traveling further between bounces than Brent. From Brent's point of view, the photon's traveling further in between bounces. And the proton's traveling further in between bounces, it's going a larger distance, which is going to make the time run slower because the rate is distance over time, right? So time is distance times, it's just going to be, that's why the clock runs slower because it's traveling further from Brent's point of view, okay? And that's time dilation. As things move, the clock's behavior changes based on who is watching the clock, right? Again, the whole thing about two astronauts that are twins, one goes off and flies in a rocket near the speed of light and comes back, then the one that was stationary is gonna be older than the one that was in the rocket. They're not gonna look older, they will be older, right? Okay, so that's time dilation. As things move really, really fast towards the speed of light, time starts changing. Now, the way that we calculate how much time has changed is something called a Lorentz transformation, okay? You plug in the values in a Lorentz transformation, basically where the person is in space, where the event is that you're measuring, how far they are apart from each other, how fast it's moving. And you can do this and calculate with pretty good precision how much time will dilate at great distances, okay? So the anti-telephone says, let's say that we have, that Brent is on Earth, okay? And he's at like some observation tower, and Electric is flying through space towards, planet X or whatever, okay? Off to Electric's left, right, there is a star system. And he's like, look at that cool star system, right? And Brent knows that this star system is going to explode, okay? But if Brent sends a signal to Electric at the speed of light, because of how far Electric is, it won't get there in time. And this star system is going to explode and blow Electric up, right? But Brent says, oh crap, we got this new like tachyon like machine that can send signals faster than the speed of light. Again, this is light itself. It's doesn't even have mass, but we can send it faster than the speed of light. So Brent pulls out the tachyon, thing, the anti-telephone, and he sends a message to Electric saying, hey, Electric, you need to divert course immediately because that star is about to blow up. It gets there to Electric before it would have gotten if he sent on a regular like transmission. Electric gets the whatchamacallit, the transmission. He averts his plane. The thing blows up. Electric saved. Everything's fine. FTL system worked just great. Okay. Now, Electric actually stole one of the tachyon machines from the little space center that Brent was working at, and he wants to send a message back to Brent using the FTL system. Okay, saying, hey man, appreciate that, right? Now, this is much easier to show on paper. This is much easier to show on paper. But when you do the Lorentz transformation for Electric sending the signal back to Brent, that signal will arrive to Brent before Brent sent the transmission to Electric to begin with. Because what happens when you plug the numbers in, and because it's going the opposite direction, that number will actually be negative. So it will arrive at the space center in, on Earth before Brent sent it to Electric. It messes time up. And so Brent will receive this message from Electric saying, thank you for saving my life, before Brent sent the message. So now Brent's like, well, I don't need to send the message. Electric is okay. So then Brent never sends the message.
No,
but if Brent But if Brent never sent the message, then Electric doesn't send it back. It causes a causality loop. It breaks it. And that's why we say this can't happen, because it will break causality. And unless you have aliens that break causality, that's why scientists are like FTL travel is all but not allowed. Now, I don't say it's impossible. We'll say it's impossible. When we say it's impossible, that's what we're talking about. It's like it messes.
Go
ahead.
No, because that's like saying if I hop in a plane. Okay, so there are so many things with that
you don't understand. Go ahead. I'll help you.
It's not that I don't understand them, but I disagree with them, and it's fine. I can disagree with them. Y'all can agree with them. It's fine. But saying that the message gets to me before I sent my message because of how it's measured, to me, is not accurate. Because
explain.
Let's start with the measurement of time is a construct, right? Like you chose to measure it by photons moving up and down, seconds.
Is anything not a construct?
Yes.
What's not a construct?
Whether we measure it or not, the Earth is spinning.
Is it?
Yes. Now, and here's where we come into relative.
According to who?
Relative. The Earth is spinning. The Earth
relative to what?
Spinning.
Relative to what?
The space around it. For us here on the Earth, we don't feel the spin necessarily. You don't look at the ground and be like, man, we don't feel spinning. No,
we don't feel it.
But, exactly. But relative to the space around the Earth is spinning, right? Similarly, you talk about.
Well, hold on. Relative to an observer who's not on Earth, space is a thing.
Really? Okay. Yes, space is not a thing.
Okay.
Similarly, you talked about throwing the ball up and down versus passing the ball, watching the ball go up and down.
Correct. Yeah. So what's not a construct? Because you're just explaining more constructs right now.
No, I'm not. The Earth spinning, that's not a construct.
Motion is a construct. Motion is dependent on frame of reference because it's dependent. You just explained it perfectly. It's dependent on frame of reference.
I mean, that doesn't deny that it is happening.
No, happening. The whole point of relativity is that happening is a construct. That's the entire point of it.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So let's keep going there. Happening is a construct.
So what is a construct?
Hold on.
Okay.
There are words that I have already said that the words that I'm about to say will come after. I cannot have said the same words at the same time, not time as in like, seconds or measurement, but literally, I cannot have said them while I'm about to say them. So the potential words that I'm going to say.
Say that one more time. Say that one more time. I think that was very important. Say that again.
I cannot say the words that I already said at the same time as the words that I'm going to say. Not time as in
why
seconds, blah, 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 but
why?
In the literal sense of, because it's like my mouth is saying what it's saying.
Yeah. Cause and effect. Exactly. I agree with you 100%.
So, right. So therefore there is something that happened before and something that is going to happen after.
That's called causality, correct?
Yes. Now,
we're on the same page.
That. Yeah. And so that's why I was disagreeing with like,
hold on. No. Continue your train of thought because I like where it's going.
Okay. So that's that point of, I send the message to him. He says it. He says, hey, thanks for that. Sends a message back. It gets to me before I sent my message to him. Therefore, I wouldn't send him. No, that there was causality in my messaging.
Yeah, because it would break causality.
But it wouldn't. It wouldn't though.
But it would.
Why? It would.
But why? Hold on. Why?
Because I'm going to go back to Tamrat.
Why? Because why wouldn't it? Why would that not break? Yeah. Why would that not break causality? Because I'm explaining to you why it would.
And I will say it would not be because of what causality is. There had to be the thing before in order for the reaction to, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, supposedly.
Yeah. Do you know what a proof by contradiction?
I used to love in physics, and we've had two different physics, professors, teachers that had the exact same accent, even though they were from completely different countries. But they both said the same thing. It's physics. It's simple. You push it, it moves.
Physics is anything but simple.
You push it, it moves.
That's Newtonian physics. See, I agree with that. Quantum mechanics and quantum physics, not exactly.
I know.
Go ahead.
Was the ball ever there in the first place?
Was it even there? Yeah, this is the type of crazy math we're talking about here. Do you know what a proof by contradiction is?
No.
Okay,
at the same time, I don't think that here's my thing though. Like, yes, we can get into the theoretical.
That's literally what we're doing.
I know, but as much at the same time, which is funny because your whole point with the aliens was like there are some things that are undeniable, as far as we know in physics, or as far as we know in science. They're almost undeniable. They're almost to say that they are. You just spent like 7 minutes saying
to say that it's impossible is not that big of a jump between where we are and the impossibility. It's not that big of a jump.
Exactly. And to that point, I was saying, so you're saying it's impossible that there would be science that would eventually allow aliens to.
Do you know what do you know what a proof by contradiction is?
No.
Okay. So
maybe I do, and I just don't have the terminology for it.
Probably that's more than likely what's happening, right? I might be over nerding it or whatever, but there's 3 ways you prove something. Okay, this for anybody who doesn't know, right? There's 3 major ways you prove something. You do what's called a direct proof. Direct proof says that, I'm gonna prove that, if I drink the water in this cup, it's not gonna be in this cup anymore. And then you drink the water, and then boom, it's not in the cup. It's a very simple, direct way to prove something. You just show that it happened, right? Rarely in life we have the opportunity to prove things directly. Okay. The second proof is called proof by induction. That means if I do something one time and then I do it again, in the next, if I take the next natural progression on that thing, and that I can show that if I keep on progressing, this assumption I made will always be true up until infinity. That's an induction proof. That is a very difficult way to improve stuff. Unfortunately, it's one of the most sound ways to do it. That I think. That's an personal opinion. And then the proof by contradiction is you start off by saying, hey, I think X is real. And then you go ahead and you work out scenarios assuming X is real. And then you hit a wall where you say, oh, if X is real, then 1 equals 2. And we know it doesn't. So my
Right.
assumption is incorrect. The assumption we're working on here is your assumption that we cannot break causality, that something has to happen before. No, the assumption here is that we can do faster than light transmission, right? Something that moves faster than light is called a tachyon. That we can actually send tachyons, and tachyons exist, right? That's the assumption. Okay. And we play out this anti-telephone scenario, and we do the math that corresponds to it, and we arrive at a contradiction. Oh, well, then what's going to happen if we do this based on Lorentz transformation and literally just math that's constant everywhere, right? Is that you will receive a message before it was sent. And we know that doesn't check out. So we have to either do one of 2 things. So that faster than light transmission is not possible, or 2, say, you know what? You don't need an effect. You don't need a cause for an effect. Direct cause.
No, the last thing is that our measurement of the time was wrong. So there's seconds.
What you're saying, and we're just talking about strict units here. We're not talking about mathematical constructs. If you say that 2 plus 2 is the same everywhere across the universe, that's all we're talking about here. That's like saying, well, you measured 2 plus 2 wrong. It's like, yo, no, I didn't, dude. And if
light. What you're saying is if tachyons move faster than light and you're locking time to light, then that seems fallacious, because you can't
we're not locking time to light. We're moving faster than light.
So then what does it matter that that light is how we measure all events?
It's not how we measure
Because if something moves,
it's not how we. That's how we calculate the dilation through like Lorentz transformation.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's, to me, that is like the relative observance of the ball going up and down. You were
What's wrong with
saying
that? What's wrong with that? The ball's going up and down. What's wrong with that?
Because it's relative, just because you have different perspectives doesn't deny the fact that the ball went up and down. You could even argue, like, is the ball moving or the people moving, that kind of thing. But
no.
we're talking about the event of the ball's motion.
I see what you're trying to say. I see what you're saying. I'm telling you, that you will receive Electric's message before Electric sent it. Before you sent the message to him. You, from your frame of reference, through the Lorentz transformation. It's hard to do without actually showing you the numbers, but you will receive Electric's message before you send something to him.
Well,
if
those
that's
numbers, what are those numbers tied to? Because you're talking about units now, and that's what I'm saying.
So it's tied to time, and if your time, it's tied to your time.
Yeah, but again, we're talking. To me, time, the measurement of it is the construct. Causality.
And we're talking about your time. We're talking about your local frame of reference time. So throw all the construct stuff out. We're talking about your time, not Electric's time, but yours.
Oh my gosh!
All right, guys, we're beating a dead horse at this point.
No, we're getting somewhere here because we're about to say, like, oh, time is irrespective of speed.
What?
I mean,
no,
time is irrespective of speed. Yes, if I can move faster than the speed of light, if something can, like, let's say tachyons were to exist and tachyons can move at this faster than the speed of light, right? And you wouldn't say, like, oh, the tachyon like the motion happened, whether or not you're able to record how fast it went.
That's not true.
Why not?
If you can't record it, then it didn't happen.
You
have to observe.
So, like,
you have
tree
to
falling in
observe
the
something.
woods.
No. This is
the trees fall in the woods all the time.
This Heisenberg. It's Heisenberg, bro. You have to. It's listen. You have to observe something in order for it to happen. It's Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Like, I'm withdrawing because I don't think you know exactly what you're talking about. But it's fine. I just wanted an opportunity. I just wanted an opportunity to just
that negates all of science being like, oh yeah, we believe this happened, because then they say the evidence, but they didn't observe the thing itself.
Do you know Heisenberg's uncertainty principle?
Of course I don't.
Then what? Then just
But that doesn't negate the, hey, there's this thing, right? Like, we were talking about the kid cussing in the woods. Like, if a kid cusses in the woods and nobody hears it, like, was it offensive?
See, well, do you want to answer that? Because I have something I want to say about
No. Go ahead, man. I've talked enough, bro.
So this kind of conversation is interesting to me because I look at it like this. A scientist is stuck and bound to rules, right? Laws of science. Whereas someone like myself, who has no kind of scientific background, might look and observe something from a different vantage point and might accidentally discover something new that the scientists might not be able to discover because they're bound to their rules. And it's just an idea. I don't know how true that is, but I find it interesting because of that. And quite often, working in tech, we love to hear the ideas and perspective of new people that are just learning, because new people do come up with good ideas for certain issues that we have because we know our architecture. So we're kind of like bound to what we know. Mm-hmm. And we're not taking a good look from a different perspective because we're set in our ways. If science has just had this kind of conversation, with regular people that know absolutely nothing, but just conversing with them about what they believe and what they think things should be, there might be a lot more discoveries. And
so sorry, go ahead.
No, I had nothing else. It's just an opinion.
One of the reasons why I wanted to say, hold on, Brent. One of the reasons why I said that this grinds my gears was the thing that grinded my gears was that point I felt was being lost. One of the community that is the most curious, the community that is the most like actual skeptical is, in my opinion, scientific community. If you are a scientist that's like, this is the way it is, it's not changing, then you're doing it wrong. You're doing it all wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said I want to make a difference between we don't know like what a gravitron is. We think that there's one, but we can't find it. So let's just stop because it's impossible. That's not true. Like there's it's something being very hard and very difficult for our head to wrap our heads around, and then something that is akin to the put a fifth side on a square. There's different levels, but even on the fifth side on a square, we're not ruling that out altogether. It's not ruled out altogether and like, oh, well, that's the way it is and it's stuck that way. No. That's why the scientific community, that's why people write papers, they test theories. That's why theories are formed. They test them, they challenge them, they do all sorts of things because we want to make sure that when we say something, that shit has been put to the test. And when it is put to the test, people still test it. So, you know, as a programmer, as a developer, a lot of times I'm working on a program and I'm like, dude, I don't know what the hell's wrong with this. And the best thing for me to do is one of two things, sometimes both. Stop working on it and then come back later where my brain is completely fresh, or get somebody else to look at it or just talk it through to somebody. And then I'll see, because I'm too close to it, that I am I'm biased, right? And bias is something that as human beings we need to shield and shelter ourselves from. What I'm saying is that understanding the math that's involved, understanding the science that involves, gives you a deeper appreciation for the type of problem that we're talking about. Because it's not just, well, just because you don't know how to do it doesn't mean it's impossible. That's literally true for everything. So there's no value in that statement, right? That's why I said, what's not a construct? Everything's a construct. So what's the point of saying that? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to draw a distinction and give people understanding and appreciation of why we say you can't go faster than the speed of light. It's not because of scientific stubbornness. It's because of the body of knowledge that's there and the interesting reasons as to why we have arrived at that and the problems that going faster than the speed of light affects and the consequences of such. Can that happen? Anything can fucking happen, but it's not likely in my opinion. Does that make sense, Electric?
Yep. Here. A construct is a concept or idea developed or adopted for the use in a particular theory.
Hold on, I want to hear what Electric. Does that make sense? I hope it did.
I'm gonna say yeah, it does.
Okay. A construct is a concept or idea developed or adopted for use in a particular theory. That said, everything is not a construct. If you see a mountain, if I see a tree, if I say I'm gonna slap out of you, that slap, whether you want to believe in it or not, happens. Now you could say like, according to the theory of, XYZ, was it my hand moving across your face or did your face move into my hand? Like, from someone else's perspective, there was no motion at all. What did the slap even happen? Because there was no scientist to observe the slap. Who says I slapped you?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But whether or not science was able to observe the slap, if I slapped you, I slapped you.
Science isn't a thing. Science can't observe anything.
Okay, yeah. If a scientist was not there to observe the slap.
If an observer.
Yeah. It happens every day as a parent. One kid tells you the other kid did something. The other kid is crying. You didn't see it.
You just punish the kid. Just punish him. I ain't see it. I'm just going to punish you. I have no evidence except for just the loose scraps that I got on the table. I'm punishing you.
They're not getting treats. Something happened.
Yo, I have a confession.
What's a confession?
So Scrota asked me a question earlier, and he said, do I agree? And I took a long pause. And I said, yeah, I agree.
Agree with what?
I don't remember. Because
I said, does that make sense? Does that make
Oh, yeah. Does it make sense? I confess, I wasn't paying attention. And I just said, yeah, sure.
I'm aware of that.
I'm sorry, guys.
To that point.
I'm sorry, that was a huge burden on me just now, so I just had to get it off my chest.
I appreciate your honesty. I'm not gonna lie. When you went to the three different types of I don't even know what they were anymore, but the point that you eventually got to is denial by
contradiction.
I forget what the word contradiction. Yeah. That one I understood because I was so busy I knew I would have to bring up the kid in the woods so that I was writing notes. I didn't even listen to the first two because I knew where we were going eventually. Anyway, the point is
Well, shit, if y'all ain't paying attention, then nobody listens paying attention that's either. And I'm just going to have my gears
Well,
grinded.
that's part of it, though. Like, sometimes you are in science and it's like music. So once upon a time in music, there were rules. There's still rules to this day, but the rules used to be super rigid. Like you could only move one note. It's called like a whole tone. All right. And you want to get nerdy? I'm going to get nerdy on you with music. You can only move a whole tone. You can't move more than a whole tone. Or
Right.
it was, because music was tied to religion. So since music was tied to religion, if you broke the rules, you were doing devil's work, right? To the point where there was even one gap in music called Diabolus in Musica, which was the devil in music. And it's the tritone. It's essentially like one of the most, like the Western ear would hear it as like very distant, right? But as time went on, each of the people who were usually commissioned to make new music every now and then would start to break the rules. And as long as it sounded good, the church would be like, you know what? You moved a little more than a whole tone, but that was a hit. I'm gonna let it ride. So the rules expanded. So what was allowed and what was disallowed were, expanding. That
So
said,
you could do it, you just weren't supposed to.
yeah.
How's
Well,
that?
that's
You
the
could,
thing.
you just weren't supposed to.
There were rules. You were not supposed to do this thing because
What we're talking
quote,
about
unquote, would anger
possibility.
God. And it didn't. Supposedly, it didn't sound good.
No, but you could do it.
Yeah,
It
but-
just wasn't. It was frowned upon.
Yeah, because to them at the time it was jarring. It was jarring to the ear. It was jarring
got
to the
that.
ear, and since it was jarring to the ear, it displeased God because the whole
What-
point of music was to
What part
praise.
of what I'm saying is analogous to what you're saying? What could be done but just wasn't allowed? Like you could do it. You could easily do it, but you just weren't supposed to.
So the part where you're saying, "Oh, if it's not observed, then it didn't happen," I disagree with that.
No, I know you do. I'm saying what part is analogous is what I'm saying.
That
Okay.
just because like it's against the rules of science doesn't mean it's not true.
No, I said
It's just not. There's no terminology for it. It's not. It's
no,
not
I said that you
measurable.
You could do if you wanted to,
right.
but you just don't. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, more so, I'm trying to say what it is that it's not that you can't do it. Yes, you could totally do it. It's frowned upon.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. What
So-
I'm saying fits that bill.
That if we cannot measure it and it didn't happen.
So somebody who wasn't there could measure it. It's just frowned upon.
No, it's not even frowned upon. They like astronomers
Okay.
do it.
Someone
the
who's
time,
not
where they talk
there
about,
can
like-
measure. Someone who's not there can measure it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, people talk about that all the time. Like, oh, we believe this happened in science because like we measured this, that, and the third, and so like now we have this theory that this happened once upon a time because we measured. We measured how long it takes.
It's a hypothesis.
I'm just-
so you can't. So
I'm-
you can't. It's a hypothesis. So you
throwing
can't say
together-
it did happen. It's a hypothesis. So you think it did. It's a safe bet to say that it did, but you cannot definitively say that it did because you did not observe it. This is simple.
Right. Like how they talk about, this is how the moon was formed. This is how we believe the moon was formed. Because
When you say this slap absolutely happened, and I'm saying to the observer, that's not necessarily true. To the observer that's not there, not necessarily true.
but my point is, whether or not the observer was there and whether or not the observer believes it happened, if it actually did happen,
Oh,
it happened.
gosh. Okay. All right. I'm tired.
Because you're saying like, oh, it's
Um,
only,
um,
we're only
I'm
able to say it happened because we're able to
um,
observe it.
Absolutely. But
And that's
okay.
what I disagree with.
That's great.
I think it's very, I don't want to say like egotistical, but like the hubris of science. Like, oh, if we didn't observe it, then it didn't happen. That's not.
No, if you didn't observe it, you
look at
cannot
it like-
definitively say that it absolutely happened. That's not even
I
a
know, but-
science thing.
Yeah, but
If
who-
you didn't observe it, then you cannot say that it absolutely happened. There is no definitive 100% proof. Now, we're okay with assuming that it did. We're fine.
Okay,
We're fine
so-
with doing that.
just
That's not
'cause- but
hubris.
that-
That's being
That is hubris, though. Like,
okay.
there's so much things to say. Like, oh, we weren't there to observe it happening. We cannot definitively say that it happened, but like by it,
So we just
to
roll
your
with
point
it.
of
So we just roll with it because there's
Yeah.
good reason to believe that it did. Correct. That's not
Yes.
controversial. That's not controversial. I know. I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing with that. All I'm saying is that if you didn't observe, you're saying you can definitively say that it absolutely did happen. That's hubris. I'm saying that you can't definitively say that it absolutely did happen because there were no observers. That's what I'm saying.
My point is, I'm not talking about me, and we not say that there are things that definitively happen, even if we don't observe.
Definitively?
Yes, definitively.
No.
So that to me sounds incredibly egotistical. Like if we didn't observe it, it didn't happen. Like it's us on this little planet.
It's egotistical to think that you have information about stuff that you don't have information about. That's egotistical.
No, me having information about it or not is irrelevant. It happening
because you deemed I don't
need to have measured it for it to have happened.
Because you deemed that it did. It happened because you decided it did.
No, I'm not talking about it. I decided that it did. There are things that happen whether or not we observe it. Again, the trees fall in the woods every day without us observing.
You just decided that it did.
All right, guys, we're running in circles on this topic, and we're at an hour and 15 minutes.
I've been trying to back away for a while, dude. I've been trying to back away. My bad. This is why I'm afraid of like unleashing it sometimes, because sometimes like my bad, man. I'm sorry to everybody who's listening. I apologize ahead of time. I will keep everything non-theoretical and just be all vibes from now on.
You don't have to do that mess, but my point is, I think that's a flaw.
You have so many points.
Yes. Hey, keep them up. Hey, you the one that's good at this. Keep up with them.
I just got one. But anyway, yeah, I'm good. I retire, concede, whatever. I'm done. Electric. Icebreaker, go.
Topic of this one.
All right, so y'all let us know who you sided with. Do you side with Scrota Wola and the side of science? Do you side with Scrota Wola and the side of science?
Of science?
Or do you side with Rebel, who is the antithesis of science?
You're saying science is doing something that it's clearly not. It's not saying we know everything. Science is saying the opposite.
No, I'm not. And I'm saying the same thing. Like, I'm literally saying that.
You're saying that there's things that we absolutely know. And I'm saying science is like there's things that we don't really know anything. So let's do our best to try to figure it out.
You was the one that was saying, like, science says if we can't measure it, then it didn't. We can't say it definitively happened. Yes, you can't say it definitively happened, but regardless of whether or not we can define that it happened, there are things that happen.
I want you to put that I want you to clip that and put that sentence into ChatGPT and ask it, what the fuck does this mean? And just see what comes out.
Do it. I don't care enough to do it because I know what I'm talking about, in the sense that all I'm saying is whether or not we observe everything, things happen. It's that simple. You're over here saying, like, if we don't observe it, it didn't happen. It's like, no, like, I don't.
I never said that, but that's cool.
You're saying, and to that point, you're just saying, like, oh, we can't definitively say that it happened. I'm saying we don't need to. That's the point I was getting to.
Did I disagree with that?
You see, you vehemently.
Hold on. Did I disagree?
Sure that
hold on. Did I disagree with that?
No.
Okay, cool. Just making
sure. You just aggressively argued semantic that was not in opposition of it.
All right, guys, this has been the Habitual Line Steppers podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you're still here, I appreciate it. But yeah, take it away, Electric.
All right. Well, that was another episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. I am Electric Thunder.
I'm Scrota Wola,
the Rebel Alliance.
And we will catch you on the next one. Have a great day, y'all. Take care.
Split Fiction later.
Yeah, me? Yeah.
I don't know if you two guys can cooperate on Split Fiction.
We don't need to.
And if you really listen, most of the time we are agreeing, just aggressively.
Kuzondumi